minute. Time for blame games is over. I repeat, time for blame games is over. Here is the thing. Central African countries are blessed. The Central African region is a blessed region. It's a blessed land. These are blessed countries. They are the major producers of all the important natural resources at global markets. Speaking of cotton, speaking of gold, diamonds, emeralds, they are the producers. Central African area is where powerful raw materials comes from. Speaking of DRCs, speaking of Cameroon, speaking of all those countries, Guinea-Bissau, Guinea-Conakry there. Lithium usually comes from there. Steel. But why is it that the majority, where all these natural resources comes from, the majority of people, over 70% of people, lives in abject poverty? The reason is simple. It's because these areas, these countries, or these regions, there has been some civil wars, tribal wars, the destabilization of these regions and countries, which is not good. The bad thing about tribal wars, civil wars, is that civil wars or the conflicts usually destroys or usually hinders investors from coming into those areas to invest. So the people of Central Africa, please stop self-hate. Stop fighting one another. Stop fighting one another. Stop killing each other. You are scaring away the investors. All the natural resources you produce there, you have no factories, you have no industries, you have no any technological machines that can be able, or you can be able to use so that you can process all those materials. As a result, you always end up exporting unfinished products, which is not good. Which is not good. It is bad. Stop fighting one another. I know all these things may come. You do all these things with different opinions, different reasons, because you have been always trying to blame one another, blaming what, pointing finger on whatever. It is not good. Stop that. And it's high time we start thinking about appreciating the people who are making efforts to ensure that those areas or Africa can develop. Look at my sister there. The Black Queen. She's busy doing all necessary things just to ensure that Central Africa can be on the map. Big up my sister Francisca. Listen to her. Listen to the interview she had with him.
Now, despite massive mineral wealth in Central Africa, over 70% of the population lives in abject poverty. Political wrangling in the region, coupled with rebel groups competing for the vast mineral resources, has contributed to the increased poverty. And joining me now to talk about what's being done to tap into the vast mineral wealth is Francisca Tachup, Vice President of the Economic Community of Central African States. Francisca, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
This is very interesting because this is so much wealth of minerals, natural resources in that region. What exactly happens and why are there so many people experiencing economic hardship in Central Africa?
I think the economic hardship in Central Africa has diverse reasons. One of the reasons is that the country's economic are not well organized yet. We have a lack of building of industries, so we cannot process the minerals in our countries. This makes that most of the minerals are being exported, and as you know, they're not being exported necessarily by the countries as such. So there's a lot of foreign involvement in the fight for these minerals. All these reasons, together with institutional weakness, makes it a little bit difficult or greatly difficult for the people to benefit from it.
Let's focus on women and girls here, because we over here in Africa is the women and the backbone of the society. And what is your organization, as the vice president of this organization, in terms of empowering women and girls to be economically able to do stuff for themselves?
First of all, I would like to say that my reason for being in the U.S. is in order to do mission of investment promotion for the region. And investment promotion includes looking for financing for different activities, including women and youth entrepreneurship. Indeed, we do need to invest into women and youth. My organization has a department that treats gender issues and social issues. And we also have a department that treats economic and commerce issues. So we are looking for investors in order to enhance the participation of women and youth in entrepreneurship.
And in your view, what really stands in the way of the Central African leaders to come together with a plan that can make this vast wealth, viable and usable for their communities?
We do have plans. We do have great programs, great development programs. The implementation of these programs needs and required financing, and needs and required one voice, both by the African leaders, but as well from the foreign communities. Once that is being done, and this is why organizations as the ECAS are standing for, we will be implementing, and we have already started implementing these plans, so that the populations of our region will be able to benefit of all this mineral and wealth that we have.
Francisca, we're talking about 11 countries in the Central Africa region. Most of the people might think maybe Burundi, Rwanda, Congo. The Central African Republic, you go down south to Angola, there's so much wealth, including oil wealth. So when it comes to the rebel groups that are interfering with all the, the safety, the peace and security of that region, what is being done to make this, a gone thing, so that people don't have to fear to do business across the borders of their countries?
Now, ECAS work in creating a business environment and harmonized business environment for all of the African countries. And we also work in creating better security conditions. So all of these efforts together makes it possible that already in some of these countries, huge investments are being done.
So there's a lot more. What else do you see as, very key to making things happen as quickly as you would like them to happen for the people of Central Africa?
We think, I think that institutionally there's still much to be done. In terms of strengthening the institutional powers of the Central African institutions, even such as the ECAS as such. We're still working, we're still reforming our functioning, and functionally there are also still some major challenges. So I believe that both there is a political will. We do have the great programs. ECAS has the 5 years development programs in 5 different sectors. Most of them I have already mentioned. And we need the financing. So we call for financing of this program by our partners, by those who want to see Central Africa being developed and its wealth used for the promotion and for the well-being of its people to come and invest in Central Africa.
Very well said. I hope that happens very soon. Francisca, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Francisca Tachup is the Vice President of the Economic Community of Central African States.
It requires each and every African youth, each and every African person to come together. If you want to see Africa to develop, to go forward, it's the unity of Africans. It's the hardworkingness of Africans, the singleness of Africans. The vision of Africans should be one. If you want to see Africa to develop, we need to each other. We need to help each other. And I am not here to come on the point figure on anyone or blame anyone here. I am here so that we Africans can find the solutions to our problems, because the solution to our challenges and our problems will only come from us Africans, not anyone else. Yes, the destabilization of Africa and Central Africa may be due to the foreign influence, may be due to the people of Africa's influence, but it's time for you and I to wake up so that we can be able to make sure that Africa moves forward. Stop self-hate. Stop tribalism. We fight one another here in Africa because of the issue of tribalism. So stop tribalism. Period.